Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Games from Scratch, and today I'm going to show you some game development black magic. This is using ChatGPT inside of the Unity game engine, and this is also going to show you that A, it is really awesome, and B, it is really not ready for prime time. But that was the entire idea behind this. This was created by a Unity developer to see if ChatGPT could be implemented into the Unity engine. It's just a proof of concept, and it is shockingly awesome and flawed at the same time. So I've already loaded it up. I'll show you how to go ahead and create this slightly different. I also modified the script to make the font a little bit bigger. So if yours doesn't look this big, it's because I changed the script. And what you do is basically give this ChatGPT AI bot commands, and then you run them. Now, sometimes it's not going to work right. We're just going to keep spamming run until it does what we want it to do. But I'm just going to run through the same script he did to demonstrate it in action. And this is kind of mind-blowing. So we're going to say, create 100 cubes at random points, and boom, it did so. All right, so that was our first command done. Now notice they were all called cube over here. So now what we're going to do is move the cube, quoted for literal name, game objects, so that y equals absolute of y, and then we'll go ahead and run it. Now, sometimes, again, you will get errors. You basically just run the command again, and it will work just fine. It is not anything more than a proof of concept. So this is not a flawless technology. There we go. That is now done. We're going to now rotate the cube game objects randomly, and we'll run that one. And we will see the end result. By the way, if you're setting this up yourself and you have some problems, you need to enter your ChatGPT key, basically the API key. Okay, so that one failed right there. It says cube is not defined. Sometimes I don't know if it's ChatGPT going stupid or not. But yes, you need to enter your key. And if you have signed up a long time ago, you may have run out of API keys, in which case you need to put in a payment mechanism to get it to work. So if you run into a null exception, that is probably what the cause is. All right, so we've randomly rotated our objects. Now we're going to create a large floor object with a oops, I cannot spell. Collider, period, and we'll go ahead and run that. This was problematic in the past, so let's see what it does this time, see if it actually creates it. And okay, we should in theory have a floor. Yep, the floor is now there as well. So now that we've done that, so let's go and move. Now I'm using his literal wording, game objects 3 units upper. I don't know. Again, I'm staying consistent to his actual script. We are going to have to change one thing from his script, but it's a very small change. So this should move all of the objects up a couple of units. There we go. So now we're going to add some lights to our world. Create 10-point lights at random points. I'm actually kind of surprised that it doesn't get a little confused with the use of point twice in 2 different contexts, but ChatGPT is kind of scary technology. I actually did a video on Godot Ultimate Tutor, and okay, so that one failed right there. You'll get that error sometimes. Let's go ahead and run it again, and let's see if it does better. Now, I got no idea why this is the way it works. Again, this is a proof of concept. Create 10 points at random points. 10-point, no, that should work. Okay, well, we'll let it run one more time, see if it creates. So you're going to immediately know that it created them because they'll show up in the scene. There we go. So we got our 10 points at random points. Again, not the most elegant solution to just keep spamming the run button, but it does seem to do the trick. All right, so now we're going to set random colors to the point lights, and we'll go ahead and run that as well. And the command runs. Hopefully it works on the first pass. No. All right, do that again. Again, not the most elegant solution you've ever seen. And basically you'll see if you get an error down here, that's probably why. These are all validated to at least run at least once. That's why I'm following what he's done. Okay, come on. There we go. So randomly colored lights in there now. Next up, we're going to increase the intensity of the and range of the point lights. So you can actually see how, especially once like these little quirks, like the errors kind of get resolved out of the ChatGPT implementation, how AI-assisted tasks are a thing of the future. It's actually kind of amazing. All right, so there we updated the lights there. We're almost done, so now what we're going to do is add rigid, let's do the right spelling, rigid body component to the cube game objects. Now, if you're wondering, could this same integration be done into Godot or Unreal Engine? Yeah, I don't see any reason why not. You just basically have to teach it the integration, how to hook back. All right, so game objects these all should now have a rigid body, and yes, they do, which is really impressive. So there you can see immediately how ChatGPT could be useful. I just added a game object to 100 entities in the scene using a text command. That's pretty cool. Now, this isn't part of his original script, but we don't have a camera, so we're going to say camera at, and then we'll create it at the origin. So we're going to need to have a camera in order to do the next step. Let's go ahead and run that, and it's going to create a camera object right at the origin, and done. So there is our new camera, and then finally start play mode. And let's see our creation in action. So we hooked up physics, created a floor, added rigid bodies to all of those things, moved them around in the scene, and there is the result. That is just staggeringly awesome. We can move this guy up a little bit and back a little bit. And let's see the exact same results. So there. Created a bunch of lights, a bunch of game objects, added physics to those game objects, created a collider floor, all using text commands. This is borderline black magic, once again. Really impressive stuff, in my opinion. So this is using this AI integration. Once again, as I mentioned earlier on, you do have to set your project key up. So here, edit, project settings. By the way, I'm going to invalidate this key, so don't bother copying it. Go to AI command, put your key in right there. If you do get a null exception when you first run it, it's because your key isn't currently active. A couple other details, we'll get back to that in just a second. So if you want to go ahead and check this one out, it is this repository right here. I will have links to the relevant thing down below. So this is ChatGPT integration with the Unity editor. It was just basically a proof of concept that, first off, you can integrate ChatGPT into the Unity editor, and you control it using natural language prompts. As you saw, it wasn't a flawless experience, but honestly, it worked better than I was expecting. In terms of his results, is this practical? Definitely no. I created proof of concept to prove that it doesn't work yet. It works nicely in some cases and fails very poorly in others. I've got several ideas from successes and failures, which is this project's main aim. So just one of those things to be aware of. He does not consider this a run, a very successful first approach, but I actually kind of disagree with him. Now, obviously, I am following what he did in his script with a couple of minor exceptions, but I threw some of my own things at it as well, and I was actually quite shocked at how well it actually did. So here I'm going to go back for a second. Let's go here, and we're going to say randomly scale all game oops, let's stop the play. Get rid of my key. All right. Randomly scale all game objects in the scene. And let's see what that does. So it's again, this isn't part of the script. It's one of those things I kind of just randomly came up with. And okay, failed the first time. Let's give it another run. So this part obviously needs to polish, this error throwing part. All right, so maybe if I'm deviating from the script, that's where we start having issues. Or, oh, you know what? It's probably trying to scale lights, which won't let it in camera. Oh, nope, there it goes. Went ahead and run it. So again, sometimes you just got to throw it at the fence again and again and again until it finally works. But damn, that's impressive. All right. So anyways, that's where it's available from. If you want to check this one out, just basically clone this repository down, open it up as a Unity project. You're going to use Unity 2022.2 or later, which is basically the most current version of Unity to check this one out. You will need to have a ChatGPT key. You can sign up for it. If you've never signed up with ChatGPT, they will give you some credits to start with. By the way, again, as soon as this video is done, I'm going to click that, which will invalidate this key. So don't even bother trying to use mine. It will be invalidated at that point in time. If you want to learn more about this project in general, it was from @_KZR or Kajiro Takahashi. He is a Unity employee, and by the way, his Unity feed in general is quite interesting. But this ChatGPT into the Unity game engine, I don't know. I'm actually curious what you ultimately think of the end results. Do you think that this is kind of the beginning of AI-assisted game development tools, or do you think it's just a pretty toy? I'd be curious to hear what you think if you're going to play around with this, and would you like to see this kind of integration into other game engines? Are you afraid of the AI-assisted world, or is this kind of thing that you think that AI is good for? Because personally, this is the kind of stuff that I like. This makes my life easier, once it works anyways, and it doesn't really scare me about replacing me. But I'm curious what you think of this integration of ChatGPT in general, and that's it. I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.